Just got to remember how this stuff works again, everybody. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Paranormal Portal, and I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and happy Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you all out there if you're in the U.S., and, well, hell, we're thankful for all of you guys no matter where you are, so it's Thanksgiving everywhere, so thank you for being a part of my world. I obviously, wouldn't be doing this without you guys. You guys have made this dream real for me, and you've given me inspiration and reason to carry on with the portal. So thank you for that. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful week. Hello, Portal Mom. How you doing? Good to see you, and good to see all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. As always, it's just you and me tonight, but might have a special guest joining me on Friday. We'll have to see what happens. It's a possibility, though. I'll just say that. So on the live show on Friday, stay tuned for maybe a special guest joining me here on the show, on the live show. And you'll just have to wait and see. Hello to Deb Varner. Good to see you. Good to have everybody here. Hi, Rachel. Hello, Elaine. Hello, Carol. Good to see you. Hello, Caitlin. Hello, friend. Hello, friend. Hello, friend. I don't know how to say that better. That sounds pretty good, though. But yeah, it's great to have all you guys here. And obviously, we're going to be getting to a whole bunch of fun stuff, as is my job as the host of the show. I'm trying to entertain the hell out of you. So hopefully I can do that. And hopefully it's all successful. I'm just looking. Hello, Annie. Hello to you. Just looking through the names. Lucky Gypsy is here as well. She's over on Twitch popping in, and I got Big D over in Rumble. Barbara's over in Rumble. Gemgwin's in the YouTubes. T-Bone's in the YouTubes, and Kedstar's in the YouTubes, and I guess that's where it all started, as far as I can tell. T-Bone was the first one in. Is that what I got over here too? Let me see. Let me just verify. Yeah, T-Bone was the first one in the door, as far as I could tell. So thank you all for being here, wherever you're coming from, but hopefully you're ready to get entertained, and hopefully I don't disappoint that dream. But, yep, we're going to get to as much of the fun stuff as we can. Of course, we're going to be getting to the news, which will be coming up momentarily here, and I got some cool articles, and we're going to get to those, and then the article from Thought Catalog, which we've been kind of plucking through on a few shows here. There's some great short stories from Reddit of people's experiences with hauntings and ghosts. So we're going to get to that, and then we're going to get to what the hell is that? And then we're going to get to the cryptid corner. And I don't know where that'll bring us. That should be probably more than enough, but that'll do it. So if you see Susan Jablonski, that is actually my mom, folks. That is my portal mom back in Minnesota. Love you, Mom. And miss you, of course. But thanks for coming in and watching the show. I'm displaced currently. I am over in the north tip of Idaho, so it's good to have this way to get together with my mom, as well as all of you. So, hello, Mark Eddy. Good to see you, brother. Excellent. Thank you for coming in. Chucky Danger's in the house. Deb Varner, as I said before, is here. And I'm looking for any other new names that might have popped up. I think that's everybody so far. Kitty Cattywax over here in the YouTubes as well. So I'm just here to tell you it's a regular party. I hope you guys have big plans for tomorrow if you celebrate Thanksgiving. And like I said, whether it's your national holiday or not, it's our day of recognizing and being thankful for things tomorrow. But since I'm getting together with you tonight, I'm going to do it now and just say, once again, thank you so much for all that you've done for me, with me. Thanks for making the Paranormal Portal a part of your life. And by extension, me, a part of your life. You didn't know you were getting me, but you got me anyway. And hope it's been a good journey for you guys. It's been amazing for me. And the shows continue to be one of the true highlights of my life. Obviously, there's a lot of highlights in my life, but doing this show and being a part of this show, because I get to be a part of all of your lives as well, has been an absolute blessing to me. So special thank you to all of you guys. Hello, Yeshua. Good to see you. And I just want to say thank you. That's definitely one of the things I'm very, very thankful for. I'm thankful for all your love and continued support and encouragement for this dream of mine of doing a show. You guys have made it magical. Kind of got something in my tongue. Something in my tongue drive me crazy. There we go. I think I got it. But, God, is there anything else? I don't think so. Obviously, I won't be doing a show tomorrow. Unless I might do a member stream late for YouTube channel members. So I might do one late. We'll see what's going on tomorrow, how wound out I am. I've been getting about a collective of about 4 hours of sleep every night for the past week. So I'm trying to sleep longer. It's just not working. I'm waking up at about 4 a.m., 4 or 5 a.m. every day, even though I don't have to, because the minions got a break from school, and I'm still waking up and unable to really sleep anymore. And by the end of the day, it's really dragging me out. So I don't know. But if I can, I will. If not, we're going to start the member streams weekly following this week. If I don't do one this week, just bear with me. I'm really thankful for all of you who've chosen to be members or have been gifted memberships. And I want to make it worth your while as much as I can. And it should mean more than just having a green name and some emojis. And I'm going to try to bring more value to that. I've said this many times, and I've meant it with the best of intentions. It's just, I'm just normally in triage mode. And as much as I have good intentions, it doesn't always work out in my follow-through. So I do apologize for that, but thank you to those of you who stuck with me, even though I haven't given you a lot of reason to. I do appreciate that. So let's get to the news and find out what the hell's going on in the world. Because honestly, I usually don't know until I look for the news, and then I go, oh, that happened, really? Yeah, that's how plugged in I am, folks. But let's see what's going on. Yeah. 4 hours of sleep, Brent. We used to dream of 4 hours of sleep. I don't know when that was, T-Bone. I'm still dreaming of it. I'm still dreaming of longer. It's just not happening. But I don't work good on 4 hours of sleep. I don't work very, very well. I just want to be green. Excuse me. Well, Carol, then I don't know what's. Let's see. Yeah, you'd have to become a member to be green, but you might get a gifted membership. So you never know. A lot of our family here in the channel have been very generous in gifting memberships to people. So if you can't do it yourself, maybe you'll get one anyway. Just so stay tuned. You never know what's going to happen around here. Hi, Dale. Good to see ya. I'm in the cycle as well, Brent. It sucks. Yeah, it does. It's just I would love to sleep restfully for a good 8 hours just once in a while and then wake up and be like, hey, I feel great. But that's just the way it's working. So let's get to the news and find out what the hell's going on. And I hope you all are ready to get informed, at least to hear something interesting or to be mildly entertained, or all the above, or wildly entertained if it works out well. But we'll see how that works because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the news desk here on the Paranormal Portal. And Deb Arner brought us the first bit of good news, which is always good, and that is that Mercury comes out of retrograde on Saturday. Woohoo! Yay! Thank you, Josh. Cryptical Crossroads coming in. gifting some memberships, just as we were saying. Let's see who got the lucky 5 from Josh. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. Flyer Tuck got one. Little Cam got one. Aaron M got one, as did Erica L. Watson, or is that Erica Watson? And then Jaqueen, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Probably absolutely brutalizing and abusing your names. I do apologize, but yeah. But congratulations to all 5 of you. You're now month-long members of the portal. So hopefully you find some merit in that and some value, and you can choose to do it on your own and continue on. But if not, thanks for giving it a shot. I appreciate it. But yeah, Mercury's coming out of retrograde, and it was because of Deb that I started carrying Tiger's Eye to help me through my retrograde. And I still have a whole bracelet of Tiger's Eyes. And it's helped. Honestly, I don't know if you believe in that stone stuff or not, but I do. And certainly, once Deb sent me the first Tiger's Eye, and it was a pendulum that she sent me, and I carry it with me every day. And then of course this bracelet I got after the fact, and yeah, Tiger's Eye really does seem to help me, at least energetically. So thank you for that, Deb. If you're not familiar with Deb Varner, she is the Paranormal Portal psychic. I used to do call-in reading shows, and Deb would do readings for callers to the show when we used to have a live phone line here on the portal. And it was great for me because all I had to do was play receptionist for the night, and Deb took all the heavy lifting. I missed those shows. I just did a memory post on Facebook about that. That's how Deb and I met in some group on Facebook ages ago, and we got to talking, and I knew that she was a psychic, and she knew that I had a show, and I was like, hey, how'd you like to do this? And she agreed. So we've ever since, she's been family, and thank you, Deb, for all those years of doing that. We did it every month, but it got to be the only use my phone lines had, and no offense, I love doing them, but we'll have to look into ways to do something like that again. I know some people have talked about Discord being able to do that, and maybe that's a possibility too. But anyway, I haven't really looked into it that much further than that, but Deb's always got a special place in my heart because of that. So let's see what's going on with the news, folks. Always throughout the shows, we do utilize a lot of different websites on the show. Some amazing material out there being put together by these websites. So I implore you guys to support these sites. Please give them your love. They are doing an exceptional job with these sites. And that's why I use them on the show, is because I have absolute faith in what they're doing and how well they do it. I've never found better. So please support these sites. Please give them your love. Your traffic equals revenue for these sites, and it helps keep the lights on. So please do that. And so I guess that brings us to time to get to the news. And the first news is coming, well, almost all of the news always comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. And I say dash on purpose because that is the URL. It's unexplained, and then the dash, and then mysteries.com. And I always want to specify the dash, because if you went to unexplainedmysteries.com, it would be a different site. And I don't use that site. I use the dash mysteries. So let's get to this, folks, and we'll see what the first one is. It comes from the Extraterrestrial Files. New poll reveals Americans' beliefs in aliens, Bigfoot, Nessie, and more. And this one just came out. It's today old, so this is a brand new article for today. Let's see what it says. The survey focused primarily on whether or not people believe that aliens had visited the Earth. With the UFO phenomenon, the possibility of alien life being hot topics in recent years, it's perhaps not a surprise that more than half of Americans believe that aliens really do exist. I'm raising my hand because I know they do. I've seen their UFO stuff firsthand. It's absolutely stunning. The results of the poll, which was conducted by YouGov, indicated that 56% believe that aliens exist, while around 47% believe that we've already been visited by extraterrestrials. That's nearly half, folks. I mean, that's amazing. And that's come a long way. At least people that are willing to admit it has come a long way. maybe people have already had that opinion, but you know how polls go. They're just a sampling of people wherever they happen to catch people, and maybe they're not the most accurate way to test the barometer of people's acceptance, but generally speaking, it used to be about in the 20s or 10s that would be willing to say that aliens have been here. And that's a much bigger stretch than what it used to be. And then around 30%, 30% meanwhile believe that UFOs are most likely to be alien in origin. In addition, 35% believe that we will make formal contact with aliens by the year 2035. Okay, there you go. As for the consequences of such contact, around twice as many Americans believe that it will have a negative rather than positive impact on humanity. I wonder why. 14% to 29% respectively. A whopping 74% maintain that if we did happen to encounter aliens, they would be more technologically advanced than us. Duh. While 66% believe that they'd want to stay hidden from humans. 55% even think that aliens might spread diseases to the human race. I guess it's possible if they have a biological basis to them, but it may not even be like compatible. Like, it's kind of like you're not going to catch an illness from your cat or dog, generally speaking. That's why they're good pets. Meanwhile, or conversely, having a monkey is more of a stretch, because we do have a very close biological match to them, and a lot of their viruses can infect us. But generally, cats and dogs are very safe pets because very little can cross the species, and so that works out well for us. So how are we determining that we could get sick from them? Well, I guess if they are more like our primates or exactly like primates, then maybe. But it's hard to say. The poll also looked at what other enigmas people believe in as well, with 28%. Only 28% believe in Bigfoot? Wow, I'm surprised. 23% in the Yeti, which is just another name for a different regional Bigfoot. 22% in the Loch Ness Monster, and 16% in the Chupacabra. I'm amazed that many believe in Chupacabras, honestly. That's pretty wild. Well, there you go. It sounds like people are getting more open-minded about this possibilities, at least especially with the extraterrestrial stuff. Maybe not so much in the cryptids, the other cryptid stuff, but I think the Bigfoot's got to be bigger than that. I don't know where they did this survey. I mean, if you did it in like Long Island, sure. But if you did it in like, a lot of other places, rural places, where they might be more likely to have encounter or heard of encounters with Bigfoot, I'll bet you that number would be way higher. So I just think it just matters where you do these polls. Because if somebody's living in an urban area, they're probably not as prone to believe that there could possibly be 8 to 10 foot tall hominid running around out there, or whatever exactly they are. But if you go out to the wild places, the rural places, the places where there's legends and stories going back into, ever since there's been a country, or even long before with the First Nations, then you're going to get a big different answer. So it all depends on the sample base where you get those kind of polls. But anyway, thought that was interesting. And now now you're informed. So there you go. That's the first article. Interesting, right? Right? You may not have heard that before today, but now you've heard. Now you know. You're welcome. This is an absolutely terrifying story. And this one actually, I think, comes out of Thailand. Because I heard a mumbling about it earlier as well, and then I found it on unexplained-mysteries.com. But this harkens back to like the early 1900s here in the West, and I don't know. It's kind of nightmare fuel, really. But here you go. Here it is from the world of the bizarre. Woman wakes up in a coffin just before she was due to be cremated. What? There you go. I can't think of I can't think of a worse way to wake up than in your own coffin. Because what if you don't know? Like, I don't imagine there's a lot of light in there anyway, so you're probably feeling all cushiony around you. But let's get into this one. It says this horrifying nightmare-fueled scenario reportedly played out in a Buddhist temple in Thailand recently. There it is. Yep. In a scenario that can only be described as most people's worst nightmare, the 65-year-old woman, which is not that old, had been presumed dead, had been taken in a coffin to Wat Rat Prakong Thom Temple in the outskirts of Bangkok, Thailand, where she was due to be cremated. The story goes that the woman had been bedridden for 2 years and her health had recently rapidly deteriorated to the point where she'd seemingly stopped breathing for 2 days. Oh, wow, they even gave her 2 days to start breathing again. Assuming that she had died, her brother attempted to take her to a hospital in Bangkok to donate her organs, but was refused permission to do so because he didn't have a death certificate for her. He then took her to the temple because it offered free cremations, but was again rejected. It was reportedly while he was discussing the issue with staff that the woman started knocking on the inside of her coffin. Oh my God. I was a bit surprised, so I asked them to open the coffin, and everyone was startled. The temple's general and financial affairs manager, Pirat, I don't know, how do you say Piirat? Pirat? I'm so sorry if your name is Pirat. I just probably brutalized that too. But his last name is Soodthoop. Soodthoop. Ugh, that's very unusual. Told the Associated Press, and I saw her opening her eyes slightly and knocking on the sides of the coffin. She must have been knocking for quite some time. The woman has since been transferred to a hospital for treatment. In a further surprising twist, the temple has even agreed to cover her medical expenses. Wow, that's shocking. Really, actually shocking. I didn't anybody think to check for a pulse? Is that not a thing? I mean, I know Thailand it's there's certainly quite a spectrum of understandings, or I guess, but still, it's not like they've never heard of a pulse, right? Didn't anybody think to check that out? Anyway, there you go. That's a news story that kind of comes right out of Hollywood, really. There you have it. You might not have known that before today, but you're welcome. I can't think of a worse. The old cemeteries used to install bells that had a string that went into the burial compartment, and they would tie the string to the arm of the person in there, that because they really, I guess, couldn't safely diagnose when somebody passed away. And that's why they had a night watchman at cemeteries originally, was to listen for the bell. If somebody was ringing a bell, they had to hurry and get them out. So, and apparently there's been plenty of cases where they exhumed old graves and found like scratch marks inside of the coffin where the people that were buried there tried to dig themselves out. Oh, dear God. What a horrible, horrible kind of ending is that. That's just freaky, freaky stuff. But there you go. That's the second one. But don't worry, there's more. I've got more for you. And we're going to get to this because it's an update, ladies and gentlemen, on the Three Eye Atlas. And of course, Three Eye Atlas has been quite the story. With what I can only assume is some serious like cover-up attempts. And then the whole, is it something extraterrestrial? Is it intelligently manned or controlled? Is it here on a mission, or is it just drifting through the cosmos on some weird trajectory? I know there's a whole spectrum of understandings or ideas about it, but when NASA released, and I was on Dave Scott's Spaced Out Radio, and he's like, yeah, NASA released new pictures, and it literally does look like somebody out there with a motorcycle headlight in a deep fog. I mean, that was the best picture they got. Meanwhile, some guy apparently with an $800 telescope, he's an amateur astronomer, took some beautiful pictures of it. You can find those online. If I can find them, I will show you, but it's definitely doesn't look like what normal comets look like. I don't know. I'm not a comet expert, but the amateur guy pulled out this beautiful photo, and NASA gave us headlights and fog. You know, it's like, what? Is that really what? So I can't help but feel, if that's what they're going to release as the best pictures, is a headlight in fog, they're trying to hide something, right? That's not the best effort. It can't be. They have billions and billions of dollars in funding every year, and they give us a headlight in fog. And meanwhile, Joe, amateur astronomer with a $800 telescope, gives us a beautiful picture of it. What the hell is that? I'm just saying. All right, well, let's check it out. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Once again, Avi Loeb, again from Harvard, astronomy from Harvard. 3i Atlas may be delivering alien probes to Jupiter. And I love this guy. I don't know that he's absolutely sold on these ideas, but I love that he's willing to have the discussions. Like he's a professor at an Ivy League college. And I don't know how well Harvard's known for its astronomy department, but I'm sure it's very prestigious. And yet he's willing to have the discussions about these being extraterrestrially controlled potentially, and the anomalous behaviors that they exhibit that don't match up to known celestial objects. And so I love the fact that he's having the discussion. I love the fact that he is weighing in the possibility. And again, I'm not saying that he's all sold that, yes, these are extraterrestrial, but he's not afraid to go there. I think that that's so powerful. And I've compared Avi Loeb to, like, he is to UFOs what Jeff Meldrum and John Bindernagel were to Bigfoot. You know, it's like he's the first established science and professional that's willing to go into these discussions pretty sincerely. And I got to appreciate that. So let's see what it says, though. Yet another curious coincidence concerning the interstellar visitor is pointed to potential intelligent control. Hot on the heels of NASA's confirmation that 3i Atlas is a regular comet, Harvard's Professor Avi Loeb, who has long suggested that it could actually be an intelligently controlled extraterrestrial vehicle, now believes that the object is exhibiting a particularly unlikely interest in visiting Jupiter. Jupiter. Just Jupiter. I don't realize that that's up. I should do this. There we go. That looks a little better without my calendar on there. In a new blog entry, he explains that the object's trajectory so far seems to have put it in a direct path for Jupiter's radius of gravitational influence known as its Hill radius. This is the boundary within which Jupiter's gravitational pull exceeds that of the Sun. And Loeb maintains that the previous observed non-gravitational acceleration of 3i Atlas seems to have placed it on a trajectory to reach Jupiter's Hill radius sometime around March 16th, 2026. This, he claims, would perfectly position it if its intention was to release probes into the Jovian orbit. Jovian, I've never heard that of. Jovian orbit. I guess that's in regards to Jupiter. According to Loeb, such a move would indicate that the extraterrestrial civilization responsible for sending 3i Atlas must have a particular interest in investigating the gas giant. The chance of all this happening by chance is reportedly in the region of 26,000 to 1. But is this more a case of wishful thinking on Loeb's part than something that's actually likely to happen? Even if the object does reach the edge of Jupiter's Hill radius, the idea that it's going to suddenly release a small fleet of alien space probes seems like a stretch, to say the least. Well, yeah, but I mean, what if it does? It's already behaving in ways that don't make sense. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if it dumps some probes at this point. I'm expecting them to land it somewhere. I mean, let's get it done. Bring it in. Let's do it. Let's have some meeting. Let's have a meet and greet. Let's get to know our neighbors in a celestial sense. I'm all for it. It's time. We're ready. We're ready. You heard the polls. Most of us believe anyway. Let's do it. Get it done. Let's get moving forward. It's time, folks. We need to meet the neighbors. It's time. All right, so there you go. That was our articles for tonight. I hope you found them interesting and entertaining, informative, and I don't know. I hope you had a good time with the news. But that's what I got for you in the world of the Paranormal Portal news. And we'll get into more on Friday and Saturday for sure. But for now, let's get back to the rest of the show. There we go. That was a good time. I think I really do respect Avi Loeb. I think that's really cool. I think it's awesome that he's willing to talk about things like this, why he's just, he's not afraid to go there. And I think that that's what it takes kind of to move the needle. It's just someone on that end of the spectrum just to humor these ideas, because it can't just be us. It can't just be us people on the other end of the educational professional spectrum. And I'm not putting any of us down. It's just, we're not authorities on this stuff, but we're seeing things we don't understand and nobody can explain. So I don't think that's too much to ask, and at least to entertain it. Don't make us feel like a bunch of idiots for having other ideas. That's my take on it. So I'm just pulling up another article because I realized we just made it through. We did make it through that Thought Catalog article last time. So I'm looking for another one from their archives. These have been fun. But I don't want to do I like the ones that are paranormal, not the true crime or weird instances that have more to do with serial killers and stuff. I don't want to cover that kind of stuff on the show. So I'm looking for some paranormal stuff. Oh, that's kind of creepy. Not that one. No, I'm still looking. They've got a ton of them here in their archives, but I've been going through this archives for years. So, not that one. Not that one. What? No, not that one. I'm just looking. Sorry, I should have been ready, but I didn't realize we made it all the way through the last one. Oh, this is kind of cool. This would be a little bit different, but I do like these stories. If you're not familiar with them, there's a concept that for identical twins and twins, there is some other connection outside of the normal connection that we have with each other. In the normal sense, that twins seem to have an extra special connection where they have this strange awareness of each other, even if they're not even in the same locales. They can just know if something's wrong. And now I know that everybody has this potential with them, but it seems to be more commonly exhibited between twins than the norm. And so I like them. I like these stories because they do seem to be a great focal point to authenticate that there is the potential between all of us for an extra layer of awareness. And some might call that telepathy or other such thing. I don't know why they chose that picture that I'm going to put up here, but anyway, we'll take a look at it and see what you guys think. This article is written by Emily Madriga, and it's from 2021. It's almost 5 years old now, but still very cool. And this is from Thought Catalog, and the article is 23 people tell the creepiest case of twin telepathy they've ever witnessed. So I'm kind of curious. I think most of us believe that we're capable of a lot more than is generally exhibited in our day-to-day experiences. Like sometimes you know stuff without knowing. It's ESP, extrasensory perception, psychic, clairvoyance, clairaudience, all the clairs. There seems to be other levels of awareness that we have and are able to exhibit. Now, I am alive today because of my mom having one of those. Portal Mom and I've shared this with you. It's when I almost choked to death on a toy. When I was a wee little lad out in the garage in my playpen. And for those of you that never heard the story, and Portal Mom is in here, at least she was, the story's kind of interesting because in the house where I grew up as a little baby, we didn't have air conditioning. And so the summers got pretty hot. And so in the garage of my parents' house, our house, where I grew up, the cement kept things cooler than the rest of the house. So Mom, on the hot summer days, used to put my playpen out in the garage and then let me play with toys out in where it was cooler, while she was just inside the door around the corner in her sewing room. And she'd, of course, check on me and stuff. So it wasn't like I was just out there faring for myself. Is that right? Yeah. And she said that she was sewing and suddenly had a horrible feeling that she had to get to me right now. So she panicked, got up, ran into the garage, and found me on the bottom of my playpen turning blue. Well, it turns out I had a toy car with a clicker that was like a clicker on the bottom that would click when you rolled it, like that. And somehow the clicker came dislodged from the toy and ended up lodged in my throat, and I couldn't breathe. And she saved me. She got it out of she did the whole hook and got it out of my throat, and I started breathing and crying and stuff, and I was okay. Had she not got that premonition, you wouldn't be watching Paranormal Portal right now. You'd be watching some other show, I'm sure, but it's just an instance where something superseded the normal and cut through her awareness and said, get there now. Now, could be divine intervention, could be some kind of guardian angel, spirit guide, whatever. Or it could have been the connection that she and I share. And at that moment, she, as my mother, knew that she had to get to me. So I don't know what the actual definition of it is, but that's why I'm here today. And so I'm grateful for this. So let's get to this article. Let me see if I can frame it a little better for you guys. It's kind of big, isn't it? Maybe I should make this a little smaller. There we go. That's a little more fitting for the screen. All right, 23 people tell the creepiest case of twin telepathy they've ever witnessed. Now, again, this is twins, but if it can happen in twins, it can happen with any of us. All right, here we go. Death omen. My aunt and dad were twins. My aunt woke up in the middle of the night from an odd dream. She even woke my uncle up to tell him about it, and in the dream, my dad told her to take care of my sister and I. He told my aunt he was leaving and needed her to look after us. Well, she said the dream really shook her, and that morning we found out that my dad died in his sleep. And that was by India Lee. India Lee? Is Leigh Lee or Lie? Or I don't know. Anyway, by this person. So there again, this is even more profound, that it was actual communication. All right, here we go with the next one. Extremely identical. In high school, we took a quiz on the assigned reading we had done from To Kill a Mockingbird. And one of the questions was, what did Scout dress up for as Halloween, which was a ham? My brother and I both included similar drawn pictures of stick figures wearing ham costumes in the margins of the quiz. That was by Oatmeal Raisin Bagel. So not only did they both give the correct answer, but they both had the inspiration to draw a stick figure wearing a ham costume. Interesting. Here's actual telepathy is the next one. And this is, during wood shop, my twin thought, I wish I had that sandpaper. I thought he had said this out loud and handed the sandpaper to him without saying anything. No one around us heard him say he wanted sandpaper, and is still one of our greatest moments. And that was by Call Me Kenneth, with a lot of underscores between the words and after. So, yeah, and this is the kind of thing that I think is great representations for what's possible. Now, why twins? Well, I think there's such a similarity, not only biologically, not only genetically, but perhaps even energetically, that when you're a twin, when you're an identical twin with somebody, you are so close to being the same person maybe it's, I don't know. I mean, I know that they are, individual people. Like, for example, the hosts of Supernatural Station podcast, Jaron and Roman, are identical twins. And they have a lot of stories about this kind of thing, where they were so connected and they just knew something was up, and it's really profound to listen to. But perhaps because they're so identical in many, many ways, that makes this more common than most of the rest of us. That it still happens with most of the rest of us. But I think with twins, it can be even much more common. Teleporting pain comes next. That's interesting. One of us was going up the stairs and the other was playing in the living room, and my mom was stood in the doorway of the hallway and the living room so she could see both of us. Whoever was on the stairs fell and banged their knee, but was fine, and instantly the twin in the living room, who couldn't see the stairs and was unaware of anything had happened, suddenly grabbed his knee and started crying. And that was by Jack is Back 123. Imagine that. That the pain was actually projected to the wrong twin. That seems to me like extraordinarily surreal. Like the one that it should have felt it because it actually experienced the impact and the potential damage or stress or strain to the body, but it was actually projected to the other one. That's really kind of profound. That's incredibly profound. But it might, I don't know what to make of that, but I know it's bigger than what it sounds like. It's not just, oh, that's kind of weird. It means, like, I don't know. I don't know how to classify this and how to express how profound, how amazingly profound I think this is. But I think it speaks to the manifestation of our experience and how, I don't know, we project our reality. So I think it's incredibly profound. The next one up is He Just Knew. I used to date a twin a long, long time ago before smartphones and internet, and his twin brother came back from vacation with a broken leg, and my ex said, oh, so matter-of-factly, oh, I wondered why my knee was hurting. And that's Happy in California. Again, this is a shared pain in this case. The last one was a projection of the pain, not to the one that experienced the actual fall and the impact, but to the other one. And this one was a sharing of it. So it was another shared experience, but a little less profound than the other one, or I don't know, just strange. The next one is Twin Souls. Both of us used to wear eyeliner about 2 years ago, but have since changed our makeup routines, and neither of us wear eyeliner anymore except for one Sunday when we both woke up and thought, I want to wear eyeliner today, and put some on. We live in different buildings, and neither of us had even mentioned eyeliner beforehand. And then there was the time we both got up out of our chairs at the same time to go tell the other we wanted to make grilled cheese. We had been in separate rooms. And we don't know who to attribute that to because the name was deleted, but or the story was deleted from Reddit maybe, but that's profound. Again, are these all for sure true? Well, we can't know that. But if only one of these stories that I'm sharing with you is true, it still demonstrates something incredible. So don't get tied up on, well, you can't prove that. You can't prove that. Well, but law of averages, would everybody be lying? Absolutely everybody? No. All right, let's go to the next one. Spidey sense. My father is a twin. When my uncle was on his honeymoon, my parents were robbed. When my dad discovered the break-in, my uncle, sitting at his campsite, jumped up and told my aunt, pack your stuff. Something happened with my dad. We got to go. Well, they were 1,500 miles away. And that was by Gonzo Stewie. Wow, I wonder what they're going to do. Go solve the case? Scoob? Were they going to come solve it? Wonder why they felt the need. Maybe it's just the urgency, feeling that stress and knowing that something happened to your twin is more the significance of it. But obviously, I guess they couldn't know what it was that happened, but this person knew that his twin had gone through something traumatic. And certainly being robbed is extraordinarily traumatic. That's horrible. Ugh, the worst I've had is my car broken in. And I was so pissed. I was so pissed. All right, the next one is Dad Heat. My twin and I both sport camp counselor. My twin and I were both sport camp counselors a couple of summers ago. To decide which team would go to bat first, my twin and I would play rock, paper, scissors. We shot the same hand 9 times in a row. Yeah, that definitely beats the odds. That was by Frisky Frog 224. I mean, what are the odds? I don't know how that works out mathematically, but that's astronomical, up to 9 times. Jeez. All right, matchy. It annoys me how often my twin brother and I, by sheer coincidence, end up wearing almost the exact same clothes. That was by Rob Ann. Is that Rob Ann? 88? I'm trying to make sense of the name. It's like boy, girl, or I don't know. Anyway. All right, we're really good at charades. Yeah, that doesn't seem fair. You just know what they're thinking, so you don't even need to try. Once my twin and I had a high school literature class together, and the class was playing a charade-style vocabulary game in which people would have to act out a vocab word to get their team to guess it. My twin went up for my team, saw the word on the paper, and just looked at me with a sad, defeated expression, and I looked from their eyes to the teacher and guessed the correct vocabulary word first try with no clues. That was by Famaroni. Well, I mean, I don't know. What was the word, though? Did it look like sad? Defeated? Something synonymous with sad and defeated? It might not be as special as it sounds. It might be extraordinary. I mean, if your word was spaghetti, then yeah, okay, that's amazing. How could you get that from a sad look? I don't know. Unless you hate spaghetti. I don't know. I'm just being an idiot now. All right, let's go to the next one. ESP. I have twin daughters. They are only 18 months, so they haven't had a lot of time to do something too freaky. However, once I came to pick them up at daycare and they were still playing while I was talking with the teacher. They were on opposite sides of the room from each other, each pushing a play stroller with a baby doll in it. At the exact same time, with no discernible communication made, they both stopped, walked to the other side of the room, and started pushing the other stroller. It was crazy. That was by Bronto Gem. Okay. So some of these are more extraordinary than others. I don't know. Kids do all kinds of weird stuff. Is that communication? It's odd, but is it huge? Maybe not. All right, we know when there's trouble. Twin here. In high school, I was out four-wheeling with a friend at the time. My twin, on the other hand, was about 50 miles away from me at work. And while screwing around that day, I flipped my buddy's truck and almost got us killed. So being in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, we figured out a plan to get help. A few hours later, we make it back home into cellular service. I see I have a missed call from my twin. Well, I give him a ring to tell this crazy story about wrecking a truck. He answers in a panic, asking me if I'm okay and what happened. I was slightly caught off guard and asked, "What do you mean?" And he said he was working, and at the exact time I flipped this truck into a ditch, he was hit with this wave of something going terribly wrong. He knew it involved me, but didn't know what had happened. After the phone call, I look at my phone to realize his name came in 1 minute after I'd crashed this truck. Throughout our lives, there has been other instances of this. That's another one that was deleted, but that's really profound. Again, communication, folks. I do believe we're all interconnected. I really do. I think that it's just a part of our human experience. Sorry if you hear rumbling every once in a while. The Minion's out there watching the new Stranger Things that came out today. So he's watching the new season just outside of the door. So apparently the TV's a little louder than it should be, but that's okay. Let's go to the premonitions. I'm an identical twin. My brother and I are very close. And there was a brief period of time where my brother and I would longboard, either stoned or drunk or both. I'm not advocating any usage like that, folks, but Just reading the story. I had an extremely vivid dream one night of my brother's funeral. The dream started with me at an altar and a crowd of people sitting in pews. I looked down at the altar and noticed a sheet of paper, so I began reading it aloud. It described in detail how my brother died longboarding down a hill and then ended up getting hit by a car. I remember reading it and having this incredibly eerie feeling like I was having some sort of premonition or something. Like what I was reading was something that was going to inevitably happen. After this realization, I looked up and everyone in my dream was standing and looking at me with wide eyes. When I looked down at the page I had just been reading, the text read in giant bold lettering, "Wake up, warn him, wake up, warn him, wake up, warn him, wake up, warn him." Everyone in the pews suddenly started rushing the altar, choking and crushing me, and I woke up sobbing incredibly hard, finding it hard to breathe, as if actually had been trampled and suffocated. I'm not usually one to believe in dreams or premonitions, but this scared me poopless, and I wrote a lengthy text describing my dream and asking him to promise not to longboard under any sort of influence anytime soon. We both quit longboarding shortly after. And that was by NEGH. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, so that's crazy. Wow. So that may or may not have anything to do with being a twin. It might just be a premonition. But still, creepy. Oh my God. That is creepy. I had the weirdest dream. And I'm I love dreams. I just got to get into this now. I'm kind of spiderwebbing, but I gotta get into this because it was so stupid and ridiculous, and I can't for the life of me understand how I got there, even to accept it in the dream state, because it was just so stupid and ridiculous. But here it goes, and maybe if any of you are familiar with dreams, this will make sense, and you can go, oh, well, this means, like, maybe it's symbolic of something. But I was in the dream, and I, of course, was me, and I was now, and I was at my age I am now, and, of course, parent to the minion, who is just 10 years old now, and with married and all that, living in the same space. But as the dream happened, I remember the minion wasn't feeling well, and he had to be late for school. And so he was late for school, but I brought him to school. But I was leaving then after I dropped him off, and he was at school. And you're interrupting my dream. So I got him dropped off at school, and then I'm driving away, and then I'm realizing, oh no, I'm late for school. And I'm like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? I'm late for school. And it's like me. But I'm driving, trying to figure out how to get to school the fastest so I can get there. Because in my reality at this moment, even being the age that I am, I was late for school, and I was feeling like, oh God, I'm going to be in trouble. It's going to be a mess. And I'm driving, trying to figure out how to get to school. And then as I'm driving, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm older. I'm not in school still. And it was, this realization that this is the most ridiculous thing to dream about. So and then I came to full realization that no, I'm not in school. This is not. And then I woke up, but it was so dumb. And for the life of me, I'm like, why? What does that mean? So if any of you are familiar with dream interpretations or could make any sense of that, please let me know, because it's about a lot of decades too late for that. But I'm just so shocked that somehow, like, some dreams can be so profound and so important. They can be representative of things. They can be healing. I've had amazing, interactions with deceased loved ones in my dreams and these incredible experiences. But then you have dreams like this that are just so profoundly ridiculous in the comparison to your actual life. And you look for understanding or meaning, like, what the hell does this mean? So I don't know. Okay, so Yeshua says, I'm retired and still have dreams about working. Yeah. I mean, I do too. I just had a repeat dream. D. Ocean says they're also therapeutic. They are. Yep. Let's see. There's an unusual comment here. I don't know if I can do anything with now. Looks suspicious. Oh, well, I hope you figured out, Gypsy. Thank you. I heard my mom calling my name over and over one night. I checked the time and knew she was asleep. So I called her and let the phone ring until it stopped. Huh. So I don't know. Does anybody make any sense out of me dreaming that I was late for school? I don't understand it. I'm sure it must be symbolic of something. Like, oh, well, that usually means this. Like there's a psychological reason to it. But it was just so dumb. I felt so stupid. Like, how did I like know I was the age I am with a child and everything? Brent, these get nowhere dreams can be quite dumb and illogical, but when you dream it, it looks perfectly normal and you accept it while you dream. But later you're like, huh? Yeah, exactly, Jose. I woke up just feeling dumb. Like, man, how come? I haven't been in school in decades. And to have a dream like that, like, oh no, I'm late for school. And it felt so silly. But the panic was real. It was like, I was literally panicked. Like, oh God, I got to get to school. What am I going to tell them? You know, why am I late? Oh, you know, and like, what? But anyway, it's just so weird. It seems the dream is you being stressed and feeling pressure. Well, that could be, Lori. I mean, that could be. God knows, you know, I mean, everybody's got pressure, right? You know, and I don't mean to exaggerate my own, but yeah, I suppose I am under a lot of pressure, but it's just so strange. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought I'd share that with you and see if any of you guys were like, oh, I know what that means. I'm sure you'll be able to analyze it. Maybe. I don't know. Could your son be your brother in the dream? No, he was definitely my kid, Barbara. He was definitely my boy, and he was the age that he is, and I was the age I am. But I don't know how I got to dropping him off at school and then realizing, oh, I didn't call the school to say that he's late and that I needed to do that. And then it was like, oh my God, I'm late for school. And then it was me that also had to get to school. And I was trying to figure out what to do once I got there and how to get there. It was like I was confused, like which roads to take and stuff. So maybe it is a metaphor for life, just trying to figure out how to get to the finish line. I don't know. It was just very strange. But it was so dumb, because I like to think of dreams as being these profound experiences that, you know, that we kind of maybe reinforce the idea that we are multidimensional entities. But man, then you have one like that and it's like, oh, I feel so stupid. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm losing my hair. I'm going to be bald in a few years. I'm going to need a wig. Oh, what's going on with your hair, Karen? But anxiety, yeah, probably. Hey, Dave, appreciate it. Dave coming in with a $3 donation. God bless you, sir. Appreciate that a whole bunch. But anyway, I just had to share that with you. Since the topic of dreams had come up, it's like, oh yeah, I got a Lulu for you guys. And there you have it. I'm going to read a couple more of these. I thought that longboarding one was I'm really glad that they followed that advice. Because when you get that kind of a solid affirmation about something, whether it's awake or in dreams or hearing a voice or whatever, just do it. Just warn the person. I mean, the worst, you're going to look like an idiot and nothing will happen, but at the best, you just save someone you love. So, yeah, I mean, my God, that one couldn't have been any more clear. Like, yeah, if you don't, it's going to pass away. They can represent a feeling of falling behind in life. Yeah, that would be accurate. Missing important opportunities or dealing with past unresolved issues from your school years. I think we probably all have unresolved school stuff. The stupid thing you said when you wished you hadn't said anything, or trying to fit in a place where you felt awkward. Sure. I think all of those are possible for sure. I was very awkward in my school years. I was very unusual. So I'm still unusual, I guess, as I'm doing a paranormal show. I guess, that's why we're all good company for each other, folks, because we're all weird in the good ways. But yeah, it was just bizarre. You just try to make sense of these things. Like, What could that possibly mean? And why did I don't usually remember dreams unless they're these profound lucid experiences that are very spiritual and stuff. But this one I remembered, and I felt just dumb. I felt like I felt just stupid when I finally woke up enough to go, oh, I'm an idiot, But anyway. All right, let's get to this one. She knew before the doctors did. This is the next one up. My wife's best friends growing up were a set of twins, and a few years ago, one of them died after a long battle with cancer. Aww. Her twin was talking with us after the funeral and saying how she could feel the cancer winning and knew that her sister was going to find out from the doctor and could even tell the third time the cancer came back before her sister did. That was from Anon Mouse 9669. Yeah, that's sad. I'm so sorry. It's so sorry. I can't wait till cancer is just a thing of the past. I think they're getting pretty close in a lot of different research avenues to just making that kind of like everything else, like the measles or mumps or what, I don't know, whatever has been eradicated that was a disease. Or like polio, it's just kind of not around anymore, or very, very rarely. I think that's got to be close. I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be solved pretty soon, and thank God. What a horrible thing. All right, maybe I'll read one more and then we'll move on. I'll read two more because the next one is just a one sentence. Creepy twin stuff is next. Back in 2004, my twin brother got married and went to Hawaii several months later on a delayed honeymoon. Well, around Tuesday, I started to feel really hot and felt heat radiating off my skin, and the next day it was a little worse. And that night they called and said where they were at, and I asked them if Jason had gotten a sunburn, and his wife confirmed he had gotten his back sunburnt. There have been other times I was thinking about something and he would start talking about the same subject. Once when we were kids, I was thinking how awesome pizza would be for dinner, and then he asked Mom if we could get a pizza. Another time in an English class, we had to write an essay at the end of a test. The teacher thought we had somehow cheated. Both essays were identical with the same grammar mistakes. We were sitting on opposite sides of the room during the test. That was by Nate 0110. There you go. Or 0110 as it is, but there you have it. And then Birth Omen, I'm going to read this one because it's just one sentence. It says, I knew she was pregnant with her first child before she did, by J.S. Jami. Jami. There you go. So that's the twins. Kind of an impromptu article. I had to dig it up at the last moment. I do think this stuff is fascinating, though. I do think it is. I don't know. I've never been the twin to somebody, so I can't say that it's so profoundly different than any of our experiences. But certainly it's curious that, twins oftentimes do have these profound connections. But again, I'm alive because of a profound connection, and the story I shared. Now, my mom's not my twin, but we're certainly connected. So I guess it works kind of the same way. And I think that can be families of choice, can be families you're born with. If you're very close to them, you'll probably have a lot of the same experiences. When you're really emotionally connected and love another person, I think married couples will feel the same kind of things, have the same kind of experiences. I've heard many stories of the wife at home knowing the husband had an accident at work, just knew when it happened. And then the phone call came, or, something like that. So I don't think that the experiences we just covered were that much more profound, or if at all, than most normal people's experience. I think that something about loving another person and bringing them fully into your heart creates a connection, an interconnection. And I think that we do communicate through those connections, whether we know it or not. And so I think it has more to do with the connection between two people than it does about a genetic similarity. Although the reflected pain or the projected pain one was pretty profound. I found that one very, very intriguing because the one that fell didn't feel the pain. The one playing the video game in the living room did. So that one to me is quite a bit more shocking. But the rest of these that we covered, I don't think are that much removed from most any of your experiences. I've had several in my life like these. And, as these people are recounting these tales, I could fill up a huge several paragraph of times when things like that happened to me. And I'm not promoting myself. I'm just saying I think it has more to do with an emotional connection with somebody than it does with whether or not you're genetically almost identical or identical, as the cases may be. So just my take, though. I send my wife a telepathic message. We need sugar. She says in return telepathy, no, not interested. Well, there you go. That's true, Benno. I'm just looking at the chat. See what we got cooking in the chat. If I'm missing anything, I remember that it took concentration, but I'd interrupt it. What are you talking about, Jose? Trying to look for your first comment here. I used to be able to question and change my dream if I didn't like it or thought it was useless at the time. Oh, sure. I mean, I think you always have the potential to turn any dream into a lucid dream where you can actually control it. I've done that several times in the past, where I just realized that I was dreaming, realized I was fully in control of the dream, and changed it and made it, where I could fly, or suddenly I knew that I could choose. And so I did, and I just created a whole production of my dream. And it's one of those where you don't even want to wake up. It's like, oh, this is so amazing. I don't want to ever wake up. And then, of course, you wake up and you're like, I don't think I can still fly. So, I don't know. You guys ever had those dreams where you can fly? They are the most incredible feelings. It's like, oh, this is amazing. But anyway, there you go. So that was that article. Hope you found that was fun and enjoyable. And I think it's time for us to go to a newer segment that we've been doing on the show, but it's been a lot of fun to do it. And I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Lori Gibbs says, always agree with wife, Benno. Married 41 years and we were both always right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth all the time, Brent. Karen Alberting says, yeah, it's not guaranteed they'll get it, just a higher probability. Just looking at the chat. Okay, well, we're going to get to the next part of the show, which has been a fun part, and I think you're going to recognize this as soon as I do it. Here we go. The hell is that? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for What the Hell Is That? This is a segment where we look at evidence. I've got a cool one in this one, and it's kind of a follow-up for one that we did on a previous What the Hell Is That? And I didn't know that there was more to the story, but I found it today or yesterday, one of the two. And it was billed as a Night Marcher account. And I showed it to you guys. It was from Hawaii, apparently, when these people were hiking. And there's this kind of emaciated person in the background. And it looks like, obviously not like a regular person. Looks like there might be semi-deteriorated. And it was posted as a Night Marcher experience where there's people hiking. Didn't see the Night Marcher, but the picture picked up someone. Well, I found a continuation of that. It's actually one of those smart pictures. You ever seen those on some of the smartphones where you take the picture and it records a few frames on either side and you get this little animated thing that shows you what happened up to the point of the picture. Well, apparently that Night Marcher one was that, and I found the actual video of it. If this is legitimate, I believe it is, but I don't know if every one of you will remember it that was here, but you'll probably recognize the image even if you weren't here for the night that we showed it here, because it's actually pretty well known in the ghost photography area. So let me make this smaller and we'll get it set up and you guys can be the judge. Now, this I got from Jessica Castro, her channel, but it looks like it comes from the JGR archive. And I think that must be TikTok, but I'm going to try to get it framed up here, and then we can look at it. Here we go. All right. So again, for those of you that aren't aware, we did this another time on the What the Hell Is That? And a lot of you guys were kind of maybe, but not sold on the idea that it was actually a ghost. With this included information, you might be more convinced, you might not. But at any rate, take a look. After we look at these things, I ask you guys in chat to vote. If you think that what you just saw could represent paranormal activity, give me a 1. If you think that it's just a bunch of bunk, give me a 0. If you're kind of in between, give me a decimal point. Like 0.8, you're kind of more willing to entertain it, maybe not all the way. 0.5, you're about either or. 0.2, 0.3, you're less likely to believe, but you're willing to consider it. So that's kind of the scale that we've been using on the shows, and it's just a great opportunity to look at evidence and just to weigh in. Now, again, we don't have the ability to look into it any deeper than what we're doing here. A lot of this stuff we just got to take at face value. Like, here's what's presented. What do you guys think? And it's not, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So there isn't really a wrong answer, as most of this stuff we just don't know. It's just a gut check. What do you think? Real or not? So let's take a look at this first one and see what you guys think. There is a narrative here that the guy says, and again, this comes from the JGR archive. J, letter J, G, and then R, and then the word archive. So it's at JGR archive. I think that's a TikTok handle, but in any case, it's coming from the Jessica Castro on Facebook. Jessica Castro. So you be the judge. Let me know what you think. Here it is.
So in honor of spooky season, I have one picture that I got from a coworker years ago that is the greatest example of a ghost in a picture that I've ever seen. And the reason that I don't doubt its authenticity is because it is a live photo, and I'll show you how I'll do the live photo so you can see the ghost kind of swooping in.
And it makes sense that he's the one reporting on it because he's the one that received the smart image. Maybe the actual picture sender didn't save it or whatever, but he got the actual smart image. So it does show the extra narration. Because you might be thinking, well, why didn't the person that took it put it out there? Why is this friend putting it out there? But perhaps that's why, because he has the only surviving copy of this smart picture. I don't know, but be the judge. Here you go.
You ready for it? Okay, so this is the hiking picture. The girl didn't see anything on the hike, but I'll zoom in here and you will see her in a second. Boom. There she is. Look how pretty she is. Her sunken eyes and her smile. There's the live photo. I'll get a better angle there. I'll do it again. You can see her swooping. And then from farther away, you can just see right by her head. You can just see her swooping in. It's pretty spooky, man. I mean, it's hard to say that this isn't a real thing.
So that's the actual animated image, and you can see it fade into view. So what do you think with this new information, or with this more robust, more complete sample of information? Do you think that you might be looking at a manifestation of a ghost? Give me a 1 if you think so in the chats. Give me a 0 if you're still not convinced, or decimal points where you're at with it. So far we got Michelle Wolfong's all into this. Caitlin's all in. Rachel's all in. Aussie's all in. Deb Varner's all in. I don't know, guys. AI. This is before AI, Lori. This is several years old. 0, some Bush guy. Maybe. Could be right, Annie. 0 from Lori. 0.85 from Benno. 1 from Kedstar. 1 from Jose. Halfway there for John. Halfway Elaine. Vincent's not buying it. Yeshua's all in. Kitty Cattywack's all in. And Mike Nation's all in. Okay, good. Nice to meet you, Mike. John Stevenson's halfway there. Karen Alberding, all in. 1, but a ghost or something else. Yeah, maybe something else. You're right. Could be. 1 for entertainment, T-Bone says. Feral person, Daryl says. Well, maybe. I think it's in Hawaii. I don't know how many feral people they have there, but it could be. Could be somewhere else. Barbara Mora's all in. Car Juice is all in. Interesting. So, but yeah, there you go. Not ghost, though. What does that mean, Karen? Not, and then ghost, though. I don't know what that means for sure. She says 1, but not ghost. Oh, you mean it's something else, not a ghost. Yeah, it could be. Could be. Could be some other thing that looks ghostly, but is not a ghost per se, as in a formerly living person. Could be something else that exists spiritually for us. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I just thought the new information was great because I'd never seen that before. I'd only ever seen the still image with some narrative behind it before, and that's where the Night Marcher thing came in because it was allegedly from Hawaii, through a hike through the Hawaiian jungle, wilderness, whatever you call that in Hawaii. I'm sure it's a jungle, right? It's a rainforest. But anyway, or I don't know if it's a rainforest. But anyway, you know what I mean. It's tropical is what I'm saying. So, yeah, great. I'm really thrilled that I found more information about it. Yeshua says entity. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Sorry. I just had these real bubbly burps. I got some bubble tummy cooking. Sorry. All right. So there you go. I was really excited though, because it's like, oh, there's more. That's really cool. I've not seen the whole thing before this, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. Like, ooh, we've got to go over that. So thanks for weighing in, everybody. And now it's time for the next one. I only have 3 of them tonight. This is from Red's Creepy Clips. Jeez, what the hell? This is from Red's Creepy Clips. Here it is. And rather than include all the different narration from Red, much like the last ladies, I cut off her narrative part. Because it's not the meat and taters. It's just her giving the background that the guy was going to give us anyway. This one is from, I think, a nurse's station in a hospital. She got this mirror up here. It's one of those multi-directional bubble mirrors. See them in the stores in many places. Just lets the nurses see if someone's hiding out alongside of the nurse's station. Or it could be an old nursing home or something. But they can see if somebody's fallen or is just peeked down there just to protect themselves. Because they go in and out by this door that's headed towards this mirror thing. So watch this though. This is kind of fascinating. Again, this one's been around for a long time too. So this is before AI. Just for those of you that are gonna, not everything is AI, especially with the older videos. There was no AI. Now it doesn't mean they're not legit or that they're not hoaxed. They can still be hoaxed, but it's a much more in-depth process than just telling an AI, make a shadow person on that mirror. Okay. So, but you be the judge. Here it is. But apparently this is a nurse's station and that's the mirror. The mirror is going to be important. Go ahead and check it out. What do you think?
In this video, we have a nurse who's alone on a floor of the hospital.
I guess we're going to get the narrative. Sorry, folks. I had it all queued up to be not that, but I just wish I could get, there it is. There's the scroll thing. I just want to get ahead to where he's not doing all the yapping. Okay, I guess that is it. All right. So paying attention to this, this is the nurse door stage to the nurse's island in the middle or against the wall, whatever. Here it is.
Security mirror, she noticed a shadow figure standing in front of her, but she doesn't see it with her own eyes. She pulls out her phone and starts to record this eerie encounter. Let's watch.
There's nobody here, right? Nobody here. What is that? Because it is not me. This is me waving, closing the door. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, she's there.
And here comes the door.
She's right there. What is this? And apparently, I wish she would stand up so you could really see. She's kind of sitting down, just opening and closing the door. But seriously, that would be way taller than the door. So it's very creepy. Again, let's go up here to, there it is. See? So she's seeing a shadow person. It looks like somebody standing there dressed all in black. Could be a trench coat. Could be just all in black. I don't know. But that's her behind the door, opening and closing it as she's holding her phone or recording with her flip phone or whatever the hell this is. So what do you think? What do you got? Seen before? Yeah, I'm sure you've probably seen most of this. Let's see. Annie Manol's all in on this one. Karen Elberding's all in. Seen before. T-Bone, what's your vote, though? What's your vote? Elaine's all in. Yep. Okay, what do we got? Rachel gets it right. All in on this one. One for sure, Jose says. Mike Nation's all in. Lori Gibbs all in. Okay. We got Caitlin on this one's all in. Pixie Ranger's in. D Ocean's all in. Spiraling 69. Nice to meet you. Great to have you here. Number 1, that's all in. Chucky believes it. Lori, I'm reading. I said hi, Lori. Okay. Deb Varner believes it's real. Aussie's about halfway there. Typical shadow person, D. Ocean says. Yeah, could be. Yeshua's all in. T-Bone's all in. And Werewolf, John Stevenson, both all in on this one. Very good. And Barbara's all in, and as is Car Juice. So, yeah, I think this one's a pretty great one. It's a pretty cool capture. It's kind of creepy. Again, mirrors, in a lot of esoteric belief systems, mirrors are considered very mystical. Ancient Druids considered them exceptionally sacred and as a window into another world. And maybe there's merit to that. And maybe that's what's being demonstrated here, is it's in that universe, but it's maybe not in this one, or maybe not yet. Are they doorways? They can be. I don't think that by virtue of it being a mirror, it's a doorway, but if something happened, maybe it could create a doorway utilizing a mirror. Very weird. Oof, that is wild. I think it's a great capture, though. Yeah, thanks, guys, for weighing in. I appreciate your vote, and we're going to get to the next one, which is the last one for tonight. I don't think I have one more. I might have one more, but I don't think so. Let's go to this one. And this one is another one from Red's Creepy Clips. Again, check out Red's Creepy Clips on Facebook. They got a ton of these over there. There's just a ton of these little clips and snippets. And I don't know if Red's Creepy Clips is also a YouTube channel or what. Looks like these are all little segments from their YouTube videos, if it is, or longer form videos. But I think these are cool. Let's check out this one. And again, I don't remember what the backstory on this one was. I pulled it up a while ago. So we're going to find out together right now. And this won't have the narrative on it with the creepy voice narrative. But here we go.
His license registration, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this one.
Not a big deal.
Here's my license, but
So this is like I guess a police body cam, and they pulled it over, and this person, I think there's more people in the car, but I know there's this person. But
this is my mom's car, so...
Where are you headed to where you're speeding and missing stop signs?
I was just headed to a friend's house. It's like literally right there. It's a birthday party.
Got it.
Not mine, but...
Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle?
No, of course not.
All right. Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm going to kill the music because it's going to kill me in a copyright. Look at that. Boom. Where is she? Let's go back. Watch. Turn and then back. Gone. I don't see any obvious edits there. I want to watch it again. Just looking for a jump in a frame or something. I'm looking at the edge of the car to see if it lines up. Turn. Boom. I will say suddenly, here's the jump, I think. See how far the person is away from the window here? And watch this. They'll turn and suddenly this is not, it's out of frame. Like they just got a whole lot closer. Here, boom. Oh, look, there, you can't see the top of the door anymore suddenly. So I think that's the edit, honestly, folks. And that's the stuff you got to look at with these videos. Yeah, at first blush, it looks like somebody disappeared. But I think that this is a reenactment, personally. But look at where the door frame is in scale to the shot. They do the rotation and then rotate right back, and boom, all of a sudden they're way closer because the top of the door frame isn't even visible. So I don't buy this one personally, but I am happy for you guys to vote on it. Tell me what you think. Let me know. I see a lot of zeros. So that's the kind of stuff you got to look for on these videos. Any tells like that, again, with AI, it's not going to be nearly that obvious, but with these older videos, look for things like edit jumps where the perspective changes a little bit, because it'd be almost impossible to line up two shots and get it perfect. You know, you're going to find little discrepancies. So yeah, a lot of zeros. She's laying down. Yeah. Maybe she just laid down. Maybe, you never know. That's a good shot, Annie. Rachel 0. Yeah, I don't see anybody thinking this is dumb. -1. Lori's got a -1. Jose's about halfway there. He's willing to entertain it, though. That's fair enough. It does seem scripted. It does. There's not, I mean, it's a very sterile performance. These are not Oscar winners for sure. But you're right, Michelle, 0. Okay. Hello, Joanne. Good to see you. Pixies, all 0. Okay, so we got all zeros here. -1 from Dog Digger. It's a good hoax. I would have said 1. Yeah, I mean, if it would have framed up correctly, it'd be hard, a lot harder to debunk it. Other than the fact that people generally don't just disappear that are sitting in cars. That in and of itself is a huge stretch. Even if it was flawless in the editing, it would still be like, yeah, but did that really happen? I don't know. It's, could it happen? Sure. I mean, we've certainly heard stories like that or similar to that through the years on the show, but they're not something I can substantiate. And just because the claim is out there doesn't mean it has to be authentic. So I don't know, but certainly that edit is what really flagged it for me. It's like, wait, that door frame is suddenly much closer just from a quick hip rotation. Maybe they hip rotated out, looked first, and then leaned in as they were coming back around. Not impossible, but certainly it's enough of a differentiation that you got to at least flag it. So, yeah, I think we're all on the same page. So that's the videos for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, check out Red's Creepy Clips. He's got a lot of them over there. It's a really cool channel. I enjoy it because there's lots of material to look through for this segment. Again, if you guys find things like images, pictures, little small video clips that you want to have featured on What the Hell Is That, please send them to me via email at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I would appreciate it. That saves me a lot of time when you guys find them for me. I haven't been over to Instagram. You guys have been sending me a bunch on Instagram. I know Chucky has been, as has Rachel, but I haven't been over there today or the last couple of days, so I didn't get it. Brent, deep dives into questionable clips. Absolutely. It's my motivation is just to make sure that we're all as much on the same page as we can be with this stuff, because there's so many fantastical claims out there. There's so many incredible claims, and I think incredible claims require incredible evidence to be used as evidence. And certainly video is a form of evidence, but in and of itself, it's not convincing, especially in the age of AI. But I'm just trying to give you guys critical thinking skills, things to look for that are sticking out to me, so that as you go forward and are looking at videos, you can start looking for some of those same tells. It might help you. I don't know. It's just, I just see too much confirmation bias online. Everybody wants to believe everything is paranormal, and I do too, believe me, but you can't suspend logic. You can't just discard logic and critical thinking because you want something to be real. So that's my take on it. But anyway, this has been...
The hell is that?
That is what it's been. Exactly that. So that brings us up to about a good place. We're at a good position right now. The timing is working out quite well tonight, folks. All right, because we got... Oh, and this is not the page I wanted. This is not the page I wanted at all. I wanted... Not that one. Yeah, that one. Here, no, that's not it. That's not it at all. I'm looking for the right page. I've got to find it. Sorry. Where in the hell is it? Oh, it's here. It was here. That's really weird. Hold on. Oh, no. Are you right here? Sorry, I'm just... I'm sitting here talking to myself, but I got windows and tabs open all over the place, and I've apparently misplaced some of my tabs here. So I'm just trying to find them again. It's not there, but I thought it was on here. So it must be... I must have closed it accidentally. That's crazy. Let me just look. Let me just look for a second here, folks. Oh, I know where it was. I know where it was. I know. Sorry. It's in this one. Not that one. Not that one. Yes, this one. Okay. I found my place. Sorry about that, folks. I was all over the place because I had to find the window that held all the stories that we're going to cover on this next segment, which is the Cryptid Corner. Stay tuned as we dive into the dark, haunted creature spaces of the Cryptid Corner. I didn't improv that one very well. Sorry, I fumbled on my own tongue. That's how it works. I'll actually record that narration on top, or some narration on top of it, because there's too much space. And Owl said it right. She's like, you should say something on this part before the thunder. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Sounds cooler that way. But all right, let's get to this. This is the Cryptid Corner. This is where we talk about all the creatures and beings that are not substantiated by science or biology, and yet people are encountering something. So there's some truth to this stuff. Now, this one's going to be kind of audio. There's several audio samples. And again, this is special thanks to Wes Germer of SasquatchChronicles.com. Ladies and gentlemen, please support his site. It's the companion site to the Chronicles podcast, well, Sasquatch Chronicles podcast. But Wes is doing an incredible job over here all the time updating, and there's lots of amazing information. So this one has, it's called the Case File, and this is from November 20th. It's called the Puyallup Screamer. The Puyallup Screamer is a Washington state cryptid known for its appearance, not for its appearance, but for its voice. A series of piercing human-like screams that reverberate through the forests around Puyallup, roughly 35 miles south of Seattle. These chilling vocalizations are often reported in the dense woodlands along Puyallup River, across South Hill, and throughout the foothills that lead into the Cascade Mountains. For nearly 5 decades, an unidentified source has produced these intense, unmistakably human-sounding cries. Witnesses have ranged from homeowners and hikers to hunters, loggers, and even responding law enforcement officers. So here's a sound file. This is coming from Sasquatch Chronicles on YouTube. So you can check out more of this there or listen to them over there if you like. So go over to youtube.com/Sasquatch Chronicles and you can see these files for yourself. Let's have a listen. If you got headphones, I would encourage you to put on your headphones. You're going to hear a lot more nuances than you can just listening via ears. If you don't have headphones, turn up the volume as much as you can without being obnoxious to people you might be around. So let's have a listen to this Puyallup Screamer recording, and there's more. There's more below this, but this is the first one. Oops. Let me start that one over because I had it muted. Yikes, that is shrill as hell. Ooh. Ah, that was deep in my eardrums. It's very shrill, very shrill. So that's the one sample of it. It says, yet despite numerous investigations and attempted wildlife identifications, the true origin of the Puyallup Screamer's haunting calls remains entirely unknown. Many witnesses said it's nothing like an animal I've ever heard living around here. The sound became so frequent that law enforcement occasionally investigated, assuming they were human distress calls, only to find nothing. Classification unidentified vocalizing entity. And again, that's the region. From late summer into early winter, witnesses have reported a noticeable uptick in activity, including deep, heavy footfalls heard in wooded areas, occasional sighting of a tall, dark figure lingering at the edge of a tree line, unusual agitation among livestock noted across multiple accounts. What is this? Yeah, there's another one here. So let's listen to another one. Sorry if it's really shrill again. That last one was very trebly and it was very shrill in my eardrums with these headphones jacked. But anyway, let's have a listen to this one. Listener beware. Oof. That's horrifying. What would you do if you heard that in your woods? I'd be like, nope, staying indoors. Let the dog poop on the rug tonight. I ain't going out there. Location, Orting Puyallup corridor. 4 teenagers witness, while driving, witnesses heard a sequence of 3 screams coming from dense forest. One witness reported a huge dark silhouette crossing between the trees. Scream described as loud enough to drown out the car audio. Emotional state of the witness consistent with shock and fear per the deputy reports. Status, partial visual corroboration, no follow-up evidence. That is creepy. I'm not really sure what we're reading here. These are different cases of this, but I'm zeroing in mostly on the audio files. Certainly you can come check this out for yourself. I don't know. These regional names, I got to tell you, I've heard other sound files of what might be Bigfoot vocalizations as well that are similar to this. Any of you guys out there? Is Wes in here? I don't know if he is. Okay. Oh, yeah, he is. Puyallup. Okay. Sorry. I don't know. It took me forever to learn how to say Oregon because I was Oregon. And I got grief for that. Puyallup. Okay. Sorry, Wes. I didn't get the primer on this article first. But these are different cases of this, but I don't know any of you guys that are more familiar with Bigfoot vocalizations or have heard several samples. Have you heard sounds like this around that are attributed? I remember there was a recording from this guy who was towing I think he was towing like a houseboat or something, and he was going through this mountain pass, I think in California, and they had kind of just pulled over for whatever reason. I think they had mechanical trouble, and they were just hunkering down on the houseboat in the back of the trailer that they were trailing behind their truck. And this whole chorus of sounds like this kind of came through the mountain valley below them and around them, as if they were herding something, like maybe they were pushing deer or something. I don't know. But it reminds me of the Puyallup vocalizations that we're hearing now. You're not offending me. It's it's Stinktown, USA. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it, but okay. I've heard the chatter a few times. Okay. Thank you, John. But have any of you other Bigfoot enthusiasts that have listened to other sound files, have you heard similar vocalizations, or is that just me? It's been a long time since I heard the ones from that video that I'm describing to you, but it did remind me very much of this, of what we're hearing here. Unless that was Puyallup as well, and maybe it was in Washington. I thought it was down in California, though. I could be wrong. I text me. Oh, let me see what you text. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Should I announce it? Very cool. I'm thrilled that you will be. Well, I'll just let you guys know. I just got hot off the presses. I just got verification that Mr. Wes Germer will be joining me, co-hosting the show on Friday. So if you want to come hang out with us, and you'd be more than welcome. Wes will be here on the portal with me, going through the show. God bless him, making time for us. Puyallup. So I didn't see anybody else talk about any of the vocalizations. Ooh, get that to Thinker Thunker, Car Juice says. Yeah, I don't know, but it's a great article of different encounters of the Puyallup Screamer. Different, I guess, incidents and dates for those records. I'm not sure what the source is, if this is from BFRO or from some other source, but very cool. Very cool. I like the ones that at least have some visual corroboration, because animals make weird sounds, and sometimes they make the most unexpected sounds. And it's really hard to figure out what you're hearing if you're not intimately familiar with the sounds of the forest and the sounds animals can make. They'll really surprise you. Foxes make the weirdest sounds. Any animal can, I suppose, make a sound. Hell, rabbits. If you ever hear a rabbit screaming, about the only time they'll vocalize is when they're being taken by something like an owl. It's a horrible sound. It's an absolutely horrible sound. So anyway, that was a great one. Thank you, Wes, for that one. And we'll go to the next one. We're going to go to November 21st. Another one that has a recorded howl from Georgia. So the background is this recorded howl from Georgia from November 21st. A listener writes, early this morning, Friday, November 21. How did I say February? Jesus. My husband and I were in our deer camp in southeast Georgia, not far from Folkestone, around 4:30 a.m. I stepped outside to my truck when I heard a long, drawn-out howl in the distance. Well, at first I assumed it was a dog, but I stopped and listened. Something about it sounded different. It was longer, deeper, and unlike anything I'm used to hearing out there. I pulled out my phone and recorded several clips. The clearest one came from the north, which I'm attaching. Another call much further off to the south sounded very similar. But that recording didn't turn out well because it was more distant and the nearby dogs had started barking. Also, just last month, CSX Railroad supposedly captured 2 images of a Sasquatch crossing the tracks near Folkestone about 25 minutes south of here. Take a listen. What do you think? So here it is from Sasquatch Chronicles YouTube page, Howl from Georgia. And we'll continue on with it once we get down below, but let's have a listen. That was like the second one is like 10 seconds. That's a long howl. Because of course people would say wolves. Well, I don't know how long wolves howl for. Do they howl for that long? Because maybe they do. I'm not suspecting or not suggesting it couldn't be something else. But again, I'm really not that avid an outdoorsman that I can say, oh, that's a such and such, or that's a such and such. I don't know. In a lot of cases, I don't know. I know it's anomalous to me. I think I've heard a lot of different animal sounds, but I don't know. That one's weird. But it goes on to say, not far from where this recording was made lies the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge, one of the largest and most untouched wild areas in the southeastern United States. Stretching across southern Georgia and into northern Florida, the refuge protects much of the Okefenokee Swamp, a vast peat-filled wetland, often called the land of trembling earth. The area had long been associated with reports of Sasquatch, or as many locals call it, the skunk ape. I think we did this one before, but I'll finish it again. One of the earliest documented recordings or encounters dates back to 1829, describing a so-called wild man in the Okefenokee Swamp who reportedly attacked a group of hunters. Key features of the Okefenokee, its size is 680 square miles. That's a lot of land. Landscape is a mix of open prairies, backwater channels, or blackwater channels, I guess. I thought it was backwater. Blackwater channels, cypress forest, pine uplands, and floating peat mats. It was formed over thousands of years as peat accumulated within a shallow sandstone basin. Very cool. This person says, yep, that's a swamp ape. The whole area is an old family land. Family owned it before it was taken for a national park / wildlife refuge. We have a family plot on Billy Island. I've been followed there and had things thrown at me. Have several relatives working in the park, rangers and maintenance. My cousin is a ranger, and last time I was there on the island, he asked me what I thought about the benches they installed along the trail. I said, I didn't see any benches, and he said, yeah, I know. Every time we rebuild them, the next day they are smashed to splinters, and he laughed. He's seen them in there 5 separate times. If I visit, I can just go in, and they will give me a John boat to go out into the swamp with if I'm going out on the island to the family plot. It's a really neat place, and the old family sawmill is also on Billy Island. They used to be cut the cypress, bring them in there, and make posts and boards for building all around the area. My family settled in the area around 1725. Man, that's history. Wow. And that was from Bill F. Yeah. That's crazy. Very cool. Is that who actually made the original report? That's really cool. Wow. That's a lot of history. That's amazing. I guess that's what they sound like, folks. I didn't know that. We got one more from Sasquatch Chronicles here, and that'll be about the show. And this is from November 21st as well. I think my dad is having encounters. Can you help? Oh. A listener writes, my dad and I live in eastern Connecticut, and someone on Reddit suggested I reach out to you, so here it goes. I have a trail cam video my dad sent me, though I'm not sure what to make of it. All I know is that for the first time in my life, I'm watching a man who has never been scared of anything leave his own home and refuse to go back. I don't know what you're able to determine or how much insight you can offer, but anything would help. Here's what I originally posted on Reddit. My dad has been mentioning strange things happening at the home he's lived in for over 20 years where I grew up. This activity is relatively new, maybe within the last year. His house sits deep in the woods in eastern Connecticut. He lives alone now, is retired, and naturally pays more attention to what's going on around the property. He's always believed in Sasquatch, but he's never been the type to imagine things, hear things, or even scare easily. Not until recently. Over the last 6 to 8 months, he's been hearing and experiencing a series of events. The first thing he told me was was months ago. He heard a loud smack, almost like a slap against the side of the house, near his bedroom. The next day he showed me what looked like a large palm print on the siding. I saw it myself. I didn't think too much about it at the time. For Christmas, I brought him a trail camera so he could see what wildlife was eating his plants, and last month, while reviewing the footage of deer, he caught a strange light moving down from the camera, and before that, there were a few odd flashes in the trees. We still have no idea what that was. Well, since then, he's heard rocks thrown into his deck, and more recently, rocks hitting his bedroom window. God, I hope they weren't big. Tonight, he called me around 10 p.m. and said something I never expected to hear from him. He was leaving his house and had called the police. A few minutes earlier, something had rammed into the side of his house twice, and he was sitting in his living room watching TV. So here I am, staying with my dad at his sister's house, trying to make sense of all this and figure out how to help him and how to prepare for him for whatever he'll be returning to. Wow, that's creepy. Poor guy. Jeez. That's horrible. I wonder what that sounds like to have something as big as a Sasquatch just ram into your home. It's got to be like thunder. I don't know. Very, very, very powerful. I feel bad for the guy, though, especially being a retiree. He's like, yeah, this is the golden years. I enjoyed my time. And then to get absolutely frightened out of his own home. That's horrible. Usually trail cams are a good way to keep these things from coming around. Like if you ever want to get rid of Sasquatch that's causing trouble, hang up trail cams. They'll avoid the hell out of them. So maybe he just needs more of them all around his house. And maybe that'll keep the activity from happening. But that's creepy stuff, folks. Very creepy stuff. But there you have it. So, wow. The night goes fast here on the portal, folks. But that was the journey as far as I got. I talked to the guy. He's scared and is staying in a motel. Wow. You talked to the guy, the retired guy? Yikes. Where is did you see the trail cam stuff that he was talking about? That would be interesting to look at. Again, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound like they actually captured anything like a Sasquatch on there, but captured light anomalies and weirdness for sure. Yes, you did. Okay. Yeah, Wes said he did see that. Wow. Yikes. Well, I tell you what, I don't know what the answer is, but again, usually you hang up a trail cam and generally that answers people's problems in a lot of cases. Even when I was talking to Dean Harrison of the Australia Yowie Research, he said, you ever want to get rid of them, just hang up trail cameras. That's for the Yowies, because they just won't come around after they're hung up. I don't know. A weird light appears. Okay, from that trail cam footage. Yeah, that's what he was saying in the narrative. That's really cool. And certainly spirit orbs or energy orbs or whatever the hell they are seen in woodlands all around. So I don't pretend to know what they are. Obviously, none of us do. But whatever they are, there seems to be some correlation with a lot of weird activity. I don't know. That's probably a really stupid thing to say. I thought I was saying something maybe a little more profound than that, but once it came out, I was like, yeah, that was dumb. But anyway, that's the way it goes. Again, just so you guys, I can reiterate, Mr. Wes Germer will be joining me on Friday night here on the portal. So if you want to come hang out with us, get to see the man, the myth, the legend himself, right here on my little humble corner of the internet. So that'll be cool. Caught a huge shadow figure running off his deck. Oh God. That's got to be horrifying. I don't know. It banged on his door. Good Lord. Yeah, it sounds like they're being harassed. I wonder why just all of a sudden though. Because it sounds like this property has been something that they've had forever. And then just suddenly he's retired and all of a sudden it's like a huge pain in the ass. Like it's coming around harassing him or whatever. Caught huge shadow running off his deck. Huh. That's creepy. Very creepy. But I really wish you all, for those of you that are celebrating tomorrow, I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for being a part of my world. Thank you for all of your love and support for the Paranormal Portal and all of its manifestations, both here on YouTube and the podcast. And remember, if you're not familiar with the podcast, there's audio podcasts. It's audio only. I do have video, but I have to produce those and release them. They'll be up on my damn it, I almost had the name. They'll be up on my other site as soon as I can think of the name eventually, but they're not up yet. But please, wherever you find podcasts, please support the Paranormal Portal there. If you are on one of those sites like on Spotify or on iTunes and you like the show, please leave me a good review. That really helps. I know reviews are often looked at for a lot of things, and certainly for these podcasts, they help people decide whether or not they're going to invest in the experience. And, I'm doing pretty good. I was just looking at iTunes today for 4.5 out of 5 stars for many hundreds of reviews, which is good. But there's some crappy ones in there that people are just being really picky about. And I'm okay. I don't think everybody's got to give me 5 stars. If it's an honest review, I'll take it. But some of them are just mean. And it's like, man, you just want to counteract those, because I don't believe that in those cases they are really objective. I think they could be a lot of different sources that maybe don't want my show to do as well. So if you like the show, if you like the podcast on iTunes and you listen to it there, leave me a good review if you like it. If it's an honest review, I don't want to ask you to lie, but it will certainly help me. Hi, Nancy. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Appreciate you stopping in. So anyway, I don't want to beg for reviews, but if you find it in your heart to do so, it does help. But anyway, that's all we got time for tonight. Yeah, trolls, definitely, John. Definitely trolls. But, you get that. That's part of doing this stuff. I believe that if you're going to put your name out there, you got to get ready to take some of them on the chin, because there's going to be plenty of people out there that are willing to give you one on the chin. And that's okay. It's part of the territory, but I always appeal to the good people to help counteract some of that. So that's all we got. Remember, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I will see you guys Friday with Mr. Wes Germer hanging out with me here on the portal. It'll be an epic night, folks. Until then, take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you Friday. Good night, everybody.